What is going on, guys? It is your boy Chaos and Skinny Lad Chris, and we are the Marvel Rivals podcast hosts. Today, we are going to be your hosts for your awesome podcast, episode 30. Chris, how are you?
Big fatty number.
Big fatty number.
I'm doing mystical.
Mystical. Okay.
Okay, what about you? Are you not doing mystical?
I don't know. I thought I was doing okay, but mystical's that's a good answer. I can't top that. So today, Chris, we've got a fun little episode. Not too much to cover right now. The content for Rivals is a little on the up and down. We anticipate the next couple of weeks as the new season comes. A lot more content to roll out. So today we're going to be filling this episode with a little bit more on the esports stuff, as we're going to be covering pretty much the tournament. We're going to be talking about it. I watched about half of the event. You watched a good amount of the event. So we'll be talking about that. But before anything, I want to address the big, what is it? What do they call the big, something in the room? The elephant in the room? I got my Sentinel jersey on, all right? There you go. I wore it for this specific episode because I'm supporting my boys, all right, and we'll get to that in a bit. But Chris, we've got some new skins. What do you think? We got Loki, we got Storm. What you think?
I really like the Loki. I feel like a lot of people, like a lot of new players, don't know that the Loki skin, we saw it like so long ago.
Yeah.
Because it was in all the tests, and now it's finally released.
Speaking of the Loki, did you hear about the glitch that's occurring?
Oh my gosh, it's so dumb. I feel so bad for Shroud.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, there's apparently a bug right now in the game for specific people that if you're running the Loki skin, if you get MVP on the skin, or if you even watch the highlight of the MVP, you have a chance to crash your computer. So if you're wondering why your computer is crashing, there's a bug right now. Nobody knows why or how it's happening. It just happens. So be mindful. Try not to buy the skin just to shut people's Xboxes off. But yeah, that's a thing. And it's funny, Chris, because that skin was in the beta and alpha, and it didn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why it does that.
It's a good skin, though.
Actually, you know what? I don't remember. In the beta, was that did that skin have like its MVP screen? It didn't, right?
Well, no one really got MVPs on strategists during the time, because in the alpha and the beta,
That is true.
I think it was tanks typically on average got MVPs more than anything, from what I noticed. I don't know if it was just because of how the system was designed at the time, or if they implemented anything in particular, but for the most part, a good portion of the time, tanks would be on par with the DPS, and they would just have it because they would get as much damage with, the damage blocked. So you didn't really see a lot of strategists, in all honesty. You almost never saw strategist MVPs unless they were full-blown DPSing. But there's also the Ragnar, it's like the Asgard Storm skin. This thing is beautiful. What do you think of that?
It's my favorite.
Really?
I love the hair. Yeah, I love the hair.
It's pretty majestic.
You know I love Scarlet. Any character with like big flowing hair I love it. I love when the hair is all crazy.
Some might say that is the hair grown from the god of Skinny Lad Chris.
Some say that.
From
Many
the
say
land
that.
of Shakalaka.
Many actually say that. Many or not.
Many. The strength grows within thy hair. No, but I think that skin is flawless. I mean, and she's wielding her own little hammer.
I think it's a great skin.
Pretty nice. And so for those that don't know, right now Twitch drops are occurring for the next couple of weeks. Make sure to watch me or Chris stream at twitch.tv, where you can get your skin by watching us or your favorite streamers. I you can get a brand new Adam Warlock emote and like skin. I don't know if it's an emote, but you definitely get a skin. You get a spray and like I think a title
Oh,
plate
yeah, you
card.
get a banner card, a
Yeah.
skin, and a spray. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's what it is.
So make sure to get those. You only got to watch a total of 4 hours. Not too bad. I usually stream every single day if I can. I've been trying to more lately. Chris, I don't know what your schedule is nowadays, but you're on YouTube as well, yeah?
Yeah, mine's later. Yeah, on
Ooh,
YouTube as well.
late night with Chris.
Little,
But
little
yeah,
late
so
night.
make sure to get your guys' skins. A lot of cool new skins coming every week. So we cover that every single week as much as we can. And today we're going to be covering the tournament that occurred over the weekend, the Swiss qualifiers for the tournament that's happening this weekend. So, with that being said, basically we're going to be covering that right here. It's the Marvel Current Championships for Season 1.5 or Season 1. And man, dude, this tournament, I think, was the best one we've had yet. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
1,000,000%.
Dude, I was locked in watching. I don't know about you, but I was locked in watching.
It is so much fun to watch. I don't
What?
know, this time, I think, what's different for me this time?
Huh.
I think the start, there wasn't that many players I was like rooting for, I guess, if that makes
Right.
sense. But this time there's like certain players I actually want to win. Or I'm excited to see play.
Right. But yeah, for the most part, you know, within the what's it called? Um, within the grasp of like everything that's going on, seeing a lot more teams now. I mean, we were just talking about this, like the whole, like, would love to see 100 Thieves, would love to see other teams get involved, and now we're seeing it. 100 Thieves, I believe, picked up Mutants. I believe, I don't remember Light's team's name, but Light's team got picked up by FlyQuest.
Oh
Huge.
yeah, what used to be most of Shikigami got put onto FlyQuest, if I remember right.
Yeah, and then like NTMR, it's kind of funny because NTMR now has another team after Sentinels left NTMR. So it's really cool to see a lot of the like teams kind of like intertwining. You're seeing a couple of small roster changes in between some of the teams itself. Like I believe Gasklin was originally a part of NTMR, which was originally a part of the original Sentinels team. He's now with, I believe, he's FlyQuest and like all those guys, like Light and all them. And you're seeing a lot more of like the teams with that. I think it's great. I mean, the Mutants, man, and Sentinels are just right now, I think, the top contenders. They are just trading games, and unfortunately, I'm gonna be honest, and this is the truth. I gotta spill the beans, okay? I have been a 100 Thieves esports fan for years. Like, they're my favorite all-time esports group, followed up by FaZe, okay? But the Sentinel team, now, I have been a fan of all of the players on there. I've become good friends with them. They're great people. They're really, nice. They're humble people. Especially for as good as they are, they're really humble. I always talk to them about, game advice and stuff, and they're always like willing to just hang out. And they're really cool. And I've become fans of them. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, if you're like, are you a Lakers fan, or are you a Kobe fan, or are you both? You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm a big fan of the players, and I've become a big fan of the Team Sentinels. So for the first time ever, I'm actually rooting against 100 Thieves. And I find myself in a really funny position. It was funny. I was talking to Gomez, and he goes, "Oh, so you're an oath breaker." And I was like, "No, dude. I pledged myself to you guys before my favorite team ever got involved." So it's kind of funny because I find myself like day by day, I'm wearing like my 100 Thieves sweater, which is like my favorite sweater. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta rep the Sen just to show some love to my team. I'm so torn up, but though they happened to lose in Game 3 to 100 Thieves, and man, their games are so one-sided for both teams depending on the map. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that when 100 Thieves goes Hydra, they do really well. And then when, you know, Sentinels goes like Midtown, it's just their map. And then it's just crazy because it's like then the last map is like kind of a toss up. It's crazy to see who's gonna come out on top. I mean, what was your favorite, like what was your favorite matches from the tournament so far?
Hmm. I think honestly probably FlyQuest versus Shroud's team.
Oh,
I
Shroud
think.
X.
Yeah, because FlyQuest had like the most insane like strategies at the beginning
Yeah.
of one of the maps, like on Midtown. I've actually seen a lot of teams do it, and I think it's like really smart. Where you get like I think Penny, they like usually a lot of people choose Penny to do it with, but you have like Penny and then two other tanks and then two supports or maybe even three supports, and then you just camp and you just bunker that like right in their front door to just stall time
Yeah.
so that you can get like way more fights in that beginning area than you really should and just stall it out,
Right.
which is smart, but it's I don't know. I've seen them do just so many weird team comps that like other teams haven't even like tried.
It's it's really interesting. I'm actually I do want to speak upon FlyQuest because you and I were talking about this before. I think FlyQuest hands down picks the most unorthodox hero selection pool out of any team. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, I mean they have light, so
They have
that guy's
light. No, I mean, dude,
that guy's a
it's
freak.
it's not even that, dude. Like,
It's
and
everyone.
it's all of them. Like they have Spider-Man's,
Literally just all of them. Yeah.
like they have Star Lords. They have like they all can play their roles really well. You said it yourself. Light. He went Penny at one point.
Yeah, and the first a second on defense, he went Penny to like stall the first point on
Yeah,
Midtown. It was so
that's
weird.
some that's. I mean, I do gotta say, Light is one of those guys. He's like he picks the most like obscure heroes that you think are bad or just can't work, and he just makes it like a thing. I did see there was a point during one of their I think it was the Wakanda domination map. Um
Mm,
Light ended up getting like this fat ult in one of the corridor rooms. On do you know the one with the vibranium in the middle, and it's got the two
yeah.
gigantic walls, and then there's the staircase that leads into the two rooms.
Mm,
They're fighting in there, and Star Lord pops like an ult in that room, and I'm just like, dude, that's the lowest ground Star Lord ult I've ever seen, and Light just swings in and just ults and gets like three super fat ult, dude. I was like, that's crazy. I still find it impressive that that man can just pick up Spider-Man and willingly take him so far into tournament. I mean, their whole roster's really good too. I mean, you have like I think Zelos on the team. Um, Gaskin's really showing up right now. He's I think found a nice
mm,
little home with those guys, doing solid with his tank work. I mean, they're all doing great. And then you have like Envy, you have what is it? Rad Esports. They're also doing pretty solid. Everyone's taking games from each other pretty convincingly. I mean, and then you have like then you have 100 Thieves kind of flawlessly almost went the entire tournament, not even dropping a game until they ran into I believe Sentinels. Sentinels dropped
yeah.
one game. Who did they drop a game to? They dropped one game to another team. Was it Shroud's team?
You mean Sentinels team? I'm
Yeah.
actually not sure who they dropped the game to.
They dropped one, not game, but they dropped a round to another team.
Yeah.
But then they just clean sweeped it up after that. I think they kind of slipped up. But it is exciting because this next weekend is going to be the official tournament across, I think, all of the regions. Is that right? Like every region is going to have its own
Yeah.
thing. I do want to give one shout out to one of the casters I think you and I both kind of agreed on. I run Shib. Hands down, greatest commentator coming out of that whole.
Yeah, amazing commentary.
At first it seemed like, like I was kind of saying, like, at first it was like, okay, like he's got solid, I see the potential, like if his commentating seems really good. And then as the games went on, you could just see him
Yeah.
like flowing into like this.
He gets into the groove and it makes it so much more
And
fun to watch.
he I think he lost his voice. I don't know if I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm pretty sure he lost his voice. That his commentating, really top tier
Yeah,
commentating.
so good.
It really kept me engaged. Marvel Rivals, if you're watching, I would watch more of these events if you put that man on casting. I would love to see more. Great caster, did phenomenal, and I can't wait to see more to come from that. But yeah, dude, like some of the teams, man, I had like this was the most fun I've had watching any of the tournaments, because I think a lot of these games now have been so fruitful or flavorful. I mean, you're seeing so many comps. You're not seeing the same day in, day out, like, everyone's just running the specific meta. You're seeing so many different styles of play. Like at one point, Sentinels was running triple tank in one of their comps and dominations. And then the next time around, you'll see another team running triple support. Then you see another team running a 2-2-2 comp. I mean, and the hero selections, like, you're seeing Name Wars, you're seeing, Star Lords, you're seeing, Adam Warlocks, you're seeing Invisible Women's, tons of Lokis. You said to yourself, Pennies, Venoms. I mean, like, I'm seeing like comps in there like Mag Venom or, Venom Strange. Like, you're seeing these
Yeah.
different changes. And the bands. I mean, the bands are so like, what's so funny?
I don't it's like all of the other tournaments, I feel like there's some kind of like for most teams, there's like a set in stone kind of like team comp that most teams would run. Whether that be like 2-2-2 or like a certain like sort of like team ups together.
Right.
But now teams aren't afraid to like Sentinels is like, let's just do triple tank.
Right.
Like, cause why not?
Yeah, and
Like I'm happy teams aren't afraid to like experiment and not just do like the standard. I'm happy they're really playing the team for their players.
right.
Like there's a reason the certain players they have are playing who they're playing. And it's like it makes it so much more fun to watch when each team is like more unique.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're even seeing like rockets and like punishers in tournaments now is kind of nice to see. Like, I just in general, and I'm gonna say this right now, I'm really happy that the debate or the conversation of roll queue is gone. I think this season, like, even though this is technically the first season, right? Like, not season 0, but
Yeah.
season 1, right?
The
This
first like full size season.
full size season, you really see the aspect of like what this game's identity is when it comes to what it wants to be. This is not a game where you do roll queue. This is a game where it's like, hey, we are superheroes and all these heroes can work in some way, one way or another. And that's great because the level of like originality is nice. In other hero shooters, you're going to see like, specific, this is going to run with this because this just works. But in this, it's like, dang, you can't really be held back by the heroes that you pick. Like, for instance, one of the games I saw, like, in ranked, a lot of the times Wolverine's getting banned, right? But in tournament, he's almost like a lot of like teams, like they're like, oh, we can run this against this because we're just, it's a different way of approach. And because you're allowed to run 3 tanks or 3 supports or 3 DPS or whatever you want to run, you can make it work. And you're seeing that in the tournaments. And I really like that.
Yeah, I just love seeing more like variety in teams.
Right.
I'm happy. I think it's I think it'll happen more over time too, because it's just like the more time like all of these players have to just practice these characters and make them viable in tournaments, even when people think like it's like Spider-Man, like you were saying. Like Spider-Man is like probably gotta be one of the hardest characters to like pull off in like a tournament scenario like that.
Yeah.
But like if you have like good enough team coordination and like teamwork, you could pretty much just make it work. Which I'm happy to see. It's starting to get to the point to where it's like this won't be as uncommon as a thing to see characters like that.
Yeah. I just like I said, it's like the variety of what we're watching, it doesn't feel stale. Like I come from so many
Yeah.
tournaments in backgrounds where it's like you do kind of get bored of watching things for a while because it's like in fighting games, right? You're going to just see the
Mhm.
same heroes fighting each other half the time in tournament at the highest of level. I'll give you an example
Yeah.
like Melee for every once in a while, you'll see like a different hero creating new metas even 20 years later. Like Donkey Kong right now is currently like finding out that people can use Donkey Kong even though he's been written off for years, right? But you always see
Yeah.
it's like Fox versus Fox or Fox versus Sheik or Fox versus Marth, and it's like the same thing over and over and over. And it's nice because it's like this is a shooting game, but with a fighting game style where you see different matchups, you're seeing different fights. The fights are they're just tasteful because it's just in general, you know, it's just nice. I love the variety. I'm really excited for next season. I mean, who knows? I mean, I anticipate we're gonna get two heroes since they've always kind of given us two heroes in a row. I mean, who knows? We can get another tank, we get another support, we get another DPS, and it's just gonna shake up the way we play the game. I mean, the fact that they're even adding this, like we're already close to approaching what 40 heroes soon. Like 39
Yeah.
heroes is that's insane.
It's already getting to such like an insane number.
I mean, and still, like, we haven't locked down certain things. There was, I do want to talk about one of the matches. So I'm going to talk about Sentinels real quick in 100 Thieves. Kind of since 100 Thieves they ended up winning the tournament, and they the day prior they also won I think the small little, what was it, like a Friday fight night kind of thing.
Yeah,
What
Friday fight night.
is that? What it's called?
Pretty sure.
Okay. Excuse us if that's not what it's called. I forget the name of that tournament, but they had like a small little like thing. They won that too. And they won I think a 3-0, and then in the tournament, this qualifier, they won 2-1 against Sentinels. Sentinels ended up completely turning the entire thing around on Midtown. But the first map went to the momentum, and the first map went to 100 Thieves on the Hydra domination map. And it seems like that's probably their best map. And then, holy cow, I saw like people in the chat kind of just writing Sentinels off. They were like, oh, Sentinels is like, you know, they're not going to beat 100 Thieves. And then they go Midtown. Midtown happens. And Gomez gets to play Wolverine. Did you see that match?
No, I didn't. Was it good?
Holy moly. I don't know how or where Gomez comes from, but this dude lurks in the shadows with Wolverine. He is the quietest. They're fighting on the first point, and out of thin air, I don't know how he does it, but he just manages to get behind not once, but two times in a row. He captured Magneto. Magneto of all heroes. And Wolverine, Meg does decent against Wolverine. I mean, even if Wolverine captures him, he can bubble himself and everything. Gomez finds him on two slip ups on no bubble, and one of them had a bubble, and he still captures him. And dude, they ate that Magneto alive like a zombie apocalypse movie. It was so fast. How like it was so fast. Took him off the building into the street, and Sentinels just swarmed. They convincingly won that Midtown game on first point fast. Like that was really, really. It was like their best showcase. Then they went to game 3 on the Wakanda convoy map, the convoy capture,
Mhm.
and it was close. Sentinels was really holding their own for the first point, for almost the entirety of the whole thing, and 100 Thieves ended up just getting they scraped by on the overtime or close to overtime on the first capture, managed to capture it and push it some far away. And then going into offense, Sentinels just couldn't capture the first point for the most part. I think I can't remember if they captured it or not, but they weren't able to clutch it out. They weren't able to really finish out the job, and it went to 100 Thieves. Now, these were qualifiers going into the big tournament, and the big tournament is going to be this upcoming weekend. So, guys, don't forget to watch that. It's going to be a big deal. But dude, who do you have? Who do you have winning the whole thing?
Um, I don't know. I think right now my two favorite teams have got to be FlyQuest and 100 Thieves.
Okay.
But I don't know. I feel like 100 Thieves is so like dominant of a team. Like
Yeah,
they have such a good team.
they have TTK on there, right?
Yeah, he's really good.
He's a
Insanely good tank
controller
player.
player too, man. That's mind blowing. I mean, if I was in this shoes, I mean, I don't know what they're banning or how they're going about things, but does he play other tanks besides Mag and Strange?
I'm not really sure. I know he plays a ton of Strange.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
every time I see him, he's usually playing Strange.
he is the Strange right now. He's like I even talked to Hogs. I think Hogs said that TTK is probably the best Strange at the moment, and it's just insane to think that like what if you were to just ban Strange and Mag? Like, what if you just get rid of like that? Can they still win it?
I don't know. I think the issue with banning just like Strange and Mag is like it's probably more worth to target ban one of the DPS because they'll have like I think I don't know the thought process exactly, but I'm assuming like banning one of the DPS is a lot more worth it.
Hmm. I do see a lot more support bans and saves.
Yeah, or support
Yeah, I see
because
that.
I feel like they have a lot more impact.
I see a lot of teams banning Adam. A lot of people are banning Adam. I mean, truthfully, if I'm being completely honest, I think Kurova is really the he is. I'm not gonna say he's the MVP of the team, but he is
Mhm.
so mechanically skilled on Adam Warlock that you taking that away. I mean, I don't think there's anyone that can diff him on Adam. I don't think that that's a thing. And them taking away Adam a lot is kind of hindersome. Like the fact that they're able to just cripple out, like a super good, key
Yeah,
component to
like
a
one of his
team.
top picks.
I mean, because
Yeah.
then Gomez doesn't have his revive because Gomez can play Star Lord so well as well. So it is kind of interesting to really see everything. I mean, Star Lord's a good hero as is, right? But I
Mhm.
even saw Gomez at one point playing tank. And I think it's partly because like they're banning Adam Warlock. They're taking I do genuinely think that Kurova is one of the star like individuals on the team. They're all great players, phenomenal players. I genuinely think Kurova is a star contributor to the team. Like when he shines, the whole team shines. When the vibes
Mhm.
are good, the vibes are great. And
Yeah, without a doubt.
Aramori is like, in my opinion, she is probably the best flex support. Like she can play all of them consistently, and she's good. It's just the Adam Warlock, them singling out Kurova is Henderson to the team,
Yeah, because
and
that just like banning just Adam that completely eliminates triple res
yeah,
entirely.
and Aramori, she is the best Mantis, so that takes
Mhm.
away from two of their key star players by doing that. I mean, you're not only removing the best atom off the game, but you're removing an entire team up ability that two of your players are just entirely like so skillful at. I mean, don't get me wrong though. I mean, Ari's playing I think a lot of Loki right now. She's really good at that. You're seeing more Psylocke, more tank style from Gomez. But yeah, it's a very interesting concept. I mean, at the same time, 100 Thieves. I mean, they have I don't know what is I can't put my finger on exactly what it is that they are doing to win their matches, but they're just coming out on top.
Mhm.
Who do you think the star player is on 100 Thieves? Like, what do you think is who do you think is really like the one that's just shining for them?
I'm not gonna lie. I think it's either I want to say either TTK or Terra.
Yeah,
Like Terra is just like it's such an insane DPS. Like just like I saw I didn't see the full thing of their matches, but I know on one of the Wakanda escort maps,
right,
like it's like kind of an even fight for like a second,
right.
and they're up like Sentinels is up like one or it's like even or something. Terra gets a pick with his ult and then just kills like seven on Bucky. Like it's like just solo winning entire team fights with just one consistent
He is
ult
pretty
every
good.
time is such insane like value.
I do like watching him versus Gomez on the Star Lord fights. It's
Yeah.
pretty like dicey. Like it's a big trade fight. Like it's either going to go one way or the other. Gomez either gets him or Terra gets him, and it's like the fact that they're just trading between each other is pretty crazy. I do gotta say though, I have to hard agree with you. Terra, I think, is just
Is
and
such a dominant DPS player. Like,
I think he's just one of those guys that has just pure raw solid good aim, dude. Like
yeah,
he's
it's
never
the aim, but
missing.
also his like awareness is
Yeah,
insanely well. Like on that same map, he's about to get like mag ulted in the air on
right.
Star Lord, and he like frame perfect rolls it, and it's like almost like a direct hit. I'm pretty sure. So he like
Yeah.
it's not only his aim as well. It's just the
His
full
movement.
package deal. I think he's just an insanely good DPS.
I do think it's I would like to talk to TTK. I would like to get his point of view. I want to know the strengths and like cuz I play I have played years and years. I have my Xbox controller right here. I've played years and years and years of controller Fortnite. I played controller on Overwatch for a long time. I played controller
Yeah,
on Halo, like Call of Duty, like you name it. Like I was a big advocate of controller. Now I'm a mouse and keyboard player. I want to get his perspective, his point of view on what it takes to be a good controller user in this game, especially because the aim assist is not it's really not there in this game. Like they really made it hard. I mean, he makes it just like work for him. I want to get his perspective. His like I can't even say the word. I want to get his point of view on it. Um,
yeah,
I want to. I would love to talk to that guy and see what's cooking behind closed doors. Like what's he do to really get that upper hand. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see the coming events. Um, by the way, what I thought that was kind of funny, and this is technically this is an actual thing. I thought it was funny. I told Karova, I was like, hey, so how does it feel beating the team that replaced you? And he goes, you're technically not wrong. Because so
yeah,
they beat NTMR, but they didn't get let go of NTMR. They got bought out by Sentinels. But technically, they beat the team that technically replaced them. If you think about it, it's kind of like a funny play on words. But
yeah.
he says, yeah, they did pretty. He says that he thinks that they did really well. Really funny too because I know that Mace was on the team Sentinels for a short while. They tried him out, and I'm not sure if they just
Or
found
NTMR, you mean?
they were. He was on NTMR before that was Sentinels,
Yeah.
and then I believe Mace. I think they traded Mace for Kaluge, and they just felt better synergy with him. And then Mace ended up being now back on NTMR. So it's kind of funny how that like full circle kind of happens again. Um,
Mhm.
but what's your thought on the NTMR lineup?
I think it's kind of interesting. I
All right.
think I don't know. I think they have a pretty solid lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just need like I feel like a lot of the teams just need more time to like
Right.
actually be a team
Right.
because it's like if you think about it, like Sentinels is like basically those people have so much time together
Right.
that you can't really compare it to that many other teams. Maybe besides like what used to be mutants
Right.
and now they're 100 thieves. And those people, it's not like those people who are on 100 thieves are like new to this. Like those are already two-time champs,
Right.
like players, like already two-time first place winners of that full team being a team. So it's like it's going to be kind of hard for teams to compete with like those two levels of synergy since they've had so much time together already. But I think over time, it's gonna just work out better. Like more teams will just meld.
I think it's one of those things too. Like talking from my past experiences, it's like when
Mhm,
teams and skills are so close, and in terms of like you know when I've seen tournaments, like you never see a double peat or a repeat, team. When you're seeing people
mhm.
like one weekend, you're seeing this team win, and then the next weekend you're seeing that team win, and then you see them win again, and then you see the other team win again, and it's like back and forth, right? When things are like that, it really does come down to what you call the football, the any given Sunday, where it's really down to who's just playing well that day. Sometimes
Mhm.
people play really at the highest of level. If you're just on, you're on, and if you're not on, like you're not on, and it's just if some people are just hitting every shot that day, you know, it works out. If some people are just not hitting everything, it's it just happens. I I do think that in the coming weeks, it's not necessarily about whose team is the best, like all time.
Yeah,
I think it all of the matches are going to be close. I think all of the matches are going to be really close between a lot of the teams. It's really just going to come out to who's going to dig deep, and who's going to have the dog in them. Who's going to, cuz these are long days. Like these guys are waiting around hours to play one
yeah,
match. That's a lot of momentum dropping. That's a lot of anticipation in the air, a lot of anxiety, jitters. I mean, shoot, man. I remember from when I was doing tournaments, we would wait 5 hours to play our next. If the more you win, too, the more you win, the longer you wait at times because you have to
yeah,
let the whole bracket go through, and then you got to wait for like the guy at the bottom of the bracket to to see who you're going to be matching. And it's like it's a lot of that. So it's a lot of sitting there and then trying to anticipate, oh, if we play against this team, we're going to run this. If we're playing against that team, we're going to run this comp. Who are we banning for this? And you have to preemptively
yeah.
like
I
see
I
13 moves
do
ahead.
think it's really gonna depend on like really who is because like you were saying, most of these players in terms of like skill,
Right.
like all of these players are good. There's
Yeah.
not a single bad player on any of these teams. Like really,
Right.
like some are just like might have like star players. Like how I was saying, I think Terra is like one of those players where it's like just insane. So like player, but I think most of the games, it's just gonna depend on who is like truly like locked in. Like Light's team, like FlyQuest.
Right.
I was watching his interview and he said He's like, yeah, he's saying he truly believes he can beat any of the teams that are there. And I believe him because people were like, the majority were saying Stroud's team was going to win.
Right.
Like, like the day before, I saw so many people saying that they're either going to get 2-0'd or like FlyQuest was going to like, it definitely was not on like the dominant side of like winning, at least from like the viewers' opinions. But then they 2-0'd Stroud's team.
Right.
And, like, when I was watching, they really knew, like, their strengths and their advantages, and they, like, were really, like, sticking to, like, what they know.
Yeah. I
So, I think it's gonna really just depend on stuff like that.
It's yeah, I agree. And dude, it's kind of cool to see Shroud like invest into a team. By the way, I didn't really capitalize on this,
I
but
know.
it's so cool to
Yeah.
see like a big deal guy like that like actually put some like effort into like, making his own esport. And I love how he did it on a whim. Like he just created it on a
I
whim.
know.
And he's just like, no, I was
I
like,
like that he has enough, like, interest in the game to
yeah.
do that. It's really cool.
I don't think he's in it for like a profit or anything either. Like, he's not in for it. Like, and I'll be honest, people don't get this, but esport teams, they're not as profitable as people think. These are not easy businesses to make like they're not easy to make profits on.
Like, a
They're
huge profit,
they're
yeah.
not because they're the teams have to win. The teams have to like genuinely, they don't take most of these guys don't even take money from their winnings or anything like that. They are purely just a brand that focuses on it's not like the NFL where it's like you have all this merch and like people buy the merch because they want to support it. It's like teams come and go really fast in esports, because games have short lifespans at times. But
Mhm.
it's really cool to see someone like him put effort towards something like a bigger cause. I'm I tip my hat off to him on that. So, but yeah, man, I actually really enjoyed talking about a lot of this with you, Chris. Is there anything else you want to add?
Let me think.
Hmm.
Hmm.
By the way, it was nice seeing you in matchmaking for once.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. We ran into each other.
We ran into each other and we got the dub.
We did get the dub.
We what 2-0'd them, right? We did that pretty well.
Yeah, we actually kind of rolled.
We kind of rolled. I was impressed by your Thor, by the way. I was like, okay, he's got Chris with a full beard. This is a nice change of pace. Yeah, but
Hey,
anything else?
not that easy. I don't know. I think I want honestly just I think I kind of just want to give a shout out to Light's team.
Okay.
Like all of FlyQuest, all of them.
Yeah, they're super.
Yeah, I think all of the players on that team, I think it's like some of the like most coordinated like play. Like you can tell that they're like have insanely good like synergy or like teamwork with each other. Like, and I like it. From the way they're playing, it seems like they have like really good mentals as well.
Right.
Like one of the maps, they immediately lost like the defense, and they knew they were gonna not be able to win it. So
Right.
they just didn't go in and feed, and they ended up just holding the whole second point because of it. So like, I like that they're not afraid to just be like, okay, we lost this, just give it up. Because I during the tournament, there's like a good amount of times where the teams would like it's easier to say from someone watching it instead of being in the game.
Right.
But like I'd watch it and I'd be like, oh wait, that's like clearly they like should not fight this anymore, but they do it and it ends up backfiring so bad.
I thought it was pretty funny. Some of the comms in between some of the teams, they'd like go on board. They go on board, and it's just the
Yeah.
teams just fighting each other. Why did you do that?
Why did you ult that?
Why did you ult that? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's what happens when money's on the line, man. You want to win. Start
Wanna
roasting
win.
each other. Chris, why did you throw your hammer? But all right, well, Chris,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
but
that wraps it up for this week's episode of the podcast, episode 30. I do want to say a quick filthy plug. I will be releasing my one tip versus every hero featuring Hogs. We have a one tip video coming out this week. Hogs will be basically showcasing tips and tricks on my channel on stuff like that. So if you are trying to learn the thing in a really in-depth video, be sure to check that out and hit that notification bell so that you know when that's going to go. It should be up in the next couple of days. I don't know exactly. We're just fine-tuning some of the graphics. And then next week, I have Light showing his Spider-Man as the same type of video. So that should be pretty cool. But with that being said, guys, Chris, it's been a pleasure per week as usual. Glad to have you on board. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will hit you guys up laters.